The original Dead Space, if you can believe it, released 15 years ago. And while reading that fact makes us want to crumble into dust, we instead have decided to share the most essential tips and tricks that kept us alive in this remake through the U.S.S. Ishimura. Prepare your plasma cutter, and let's dive in.
Don't you want to be reunited?
Considering you'll likely spend the majority of Dead Space trying to land precision shots on necromorph limbs, you'll often find yourself overwhelmed by the speed of enemies. To combat this, aim for the legs first. Grounding a necromorph makes it much easier to land a killing blow. Hit the right trigger to stomp enemies. You can kill enemies before they spring to life if they're playing possum, but more importantly, you can cause an item to pop out for enemies you've already killed. Almost every enemy carries a single item, and they won't just drop them. You gotta finish the job with a stomp. Normally you'd stomp or melee attack a crate to open it, but in 0G you can use kinesis to draw items nearer to you, and then fire them against the ground or wall to smash them. Dead Space adds a lot of fancier, more powerful weapons to Isaac's roster throughout the events of the game, but few guns are as reliable and easy to scrounge ammo for as the plasma cutter. Although there's a lot of good equipment to upgrade at the workbench, it's worth focusing a lot of your stored nodes on making it the best it can possibly be. It'll constantly be there to help you out of a scrap, and it's well worth the investment. One of the most powerful weapons Isaac acquires during his time in the Ishimura is the kinesis module, which allows him to pick up, move, and throw objects. While it's used as a puzzle-solving tool, it's also very good at murdering necromorphs. When exploring environments, look for explosive barrels and rods. Using these against most necromorphs is often an instant kill, allowing you to wipe out enemies without wasting your precious ammo supply. An enemy type you'll first encounter during Dead Space's second chapter, the Infector is a flying monster that transforms human corpses into necromorphs. It won't bother Isaac at first, but it will search the nearby area for human corpses and turn them into powerful enemies. So make sure to take them out before they raise their own army. Although this won't always be an option, several of Dead Space's environments will come loaded with hazards that can hurt Isaac, including faulty wiring that spews electricity and large machinery. If you put yourself between an enemy and a hazard, they'll blindly walk into it without a second thought, and stasis can help position them. Melee a wall with a spinning fan on it to unleash a free buzzsaw-like weapon when used with kinesis. This also goes for the shelves made of blue rods. Those rods are torpedoes in the right hands. When you first gain control of Isaac while aboard the Kellion, take your first left to find a text log that expounds on his backstory. It won't help you not get dismembered, but at least it will make you empathize with him a bit more while it happens. Aww. While there's no quick turn in Dead Space, you can press the sprint button while strafing backwards to pick up the pace. You'll be backpedaling quite a bit, so you may as well do it a bit faster. Dead Space loves to pincer you in between two enemies. This means that walking, or running backwards like we practiced, isn't always the best option. Sometimes, you'll need to run towards an enemy while shooting them down so you don't back up into their tag team partner. Then you can turn around and keep the second enemy in front of you. To better know when there's an enemy behind you, it really helps to play with either surround sound speakers or headphones so you can get better positional audio. You'll often hear vents popping open or necromorphs squealing before you even see them. Pressing in the right stick to see the shortest path to your next objective is one of Dead Space's most player-friendly features. Not only do you know where to go to complete your current mission, you also know which rooms or side areas you can explore for extra loot before moving on. Don't be afraid to stray from the blue line from time to time. Dead Space's controls are fully remappable, and even allow you to bind functions like immediately opening the map to an unused button. Don't forget to use stasis to keep the smaller enemies in place. Blowing through a clip's worth of ammo isn't worth it, so if you're having trouble hitting the stupid mutant babies, lock them down first while their tentacles are out. Man, this game is gross. It's tempting to buy ammo or health when you're running low on both, but try and save your money for suit and weapon upgrades. You may be strapped for resources sometimes, but there are often many ways through tough scenarios. You have stasis, kinesis, punches, and stomps for a reason. Remember your weapon's secondary fire functions. While they often take more ammo than a normal shot, attacks like the rifle's proximity mine or the Ripper's saw blade can monumentally turn the tide in your favor. Don't waste precious ammo on non-vital enemy parts. Sometimes if you blow through a whole clip trying to find a weak point, dying might be the better option. Use your deaths as chances to gather information for your next, more efficient run. Security doors are labeled on the map, and rooms you haven't visited yet will be dark blue versus light blue. When you gain a higher level of clearance, be sure to look back at what you missed. However, most security lockers and boxes are not tracked on the map, so be sure to make a note for yourself when you see one.
Clearance confirmed.
In the back half of the game, you'll come across a lot of gooey surfaces. Like I said before, game's real gross. You can't run on these, but neither can your enemies, so plan your routes accordingly when trying to flee or flank them. Much of the loot is randomly generated based on what you need. Storing a weapon, that is in the storage bin at the store, not in your inventory, stops you from finding as much ammo for it. Placing your valuable healing items in storage will also cause more health items to drop from enemies, and keeping a lot of healing items in your inventory will cause you to find more ammo. If your favorite weapon is running low, upgrading its capacity at the workbench will reload the clip, giving you free ammo. And there you have it, 22 essential tips and tricks to fight your way through the Dead Space remake. Do you have any tips for our fellow engineers? Please leave them in the comments below. And while you're here, check out our review. For everything else survival horror, you're already in the right place. IGN.
Entering vacuum.